just understand if things that Bheki did were deliberate. There is one fact that I would accept wholeheartedly. She did not understand the environment that she was in. It's a tough, difficult, energy-sapping environment, very manipulative and so unscrupulous environment to be in. So her having not any form of resemblance of the experience would be two things: make serious mistake or seriously manipulated for the outcomes that are known by those that are handling her. And I believe it was both.
Thank you very much, General. So then all of this happens, you're removed as the National Commissioner, you now come back as the Police Minister. You're obviously aware of some of the weaknesses in the system, whether deliberate or emergent. Do you think that during your tenure as Police Minister, you would have done enough to deal with the challenge of infiltration in particular?
Yes, it's always good to think from the positive side that I could have done better. In the reflection, you say yourself, I could have done this or that. Indeed, the answer would be yes, much better could have been done.
Sorry, General, I don't know if this question has been asked. It's in two parts. Firstly, criminal intelligence. We've obviously focused a lot on it in this ad hoc committee and the instability within criminal intelligence. Now, as you were delivering your testimony, you attested to the fact that the senior echelons of leadership were not fighting during your tenure. I do want to ask General a pointed question, and I know it's your opinion, but what do you think is causing this current instability within criminal intelligence? Like, you know, because we're sitting in this ad hoc committee, running around in circles, trying to pinpoint a reason. Is it because the minister overstepped his authority? Is it the tender? Is it factions? What would be your opinion, obviously being familiar with the environment and the participants in the process? What is causing the instability?
Honorable Member, the turmoil is not in the crime intelligence only, it's across the board. Crime intelligence turmoil is long. I don't know what's your age, but it might be of your age. It's very long. Starting with Mdluli.
Sorry, are you saying I'm very old, General?
No.
Oh.
It falls within the new. I talk about the new dispensation. You should be some 29, 30 years. So the crime intelligence, put it aside, its turmoils. It has been always there. Whether it's Mdluli, whether those that were acting, whether it's Jacobs, whether it's who is there now, whether it's Khan, whether it's Kumalo and all that. But this one of across the board, where you see something that you just shrink to look at, when the Deputy National Commissioner takes Commissioner to the court, usually Commissioner would write the statement defending the Deputy National Commissioner. But the National Commissioner here writes the statement, the affidavit, against the Deputy National Commissioner. It's a hell. It's a serious turmoil. How it came about, Honorable Member, I would be presumptuous. But I think somewhere, somehow, center did not hold for this thing to happen. And it's unfortunate that it has, South Africans, at a certain given point, they had a trust and respect of the police. 2010, it was a good thing. 2011 was a good thing to pay South African police. But it has dwindled. At one time, went to 21% and all. I don't know if the survey can be done now, what percentage can be there. But it's there to see to it. That is bad. My answer, without pointing anywhere, center did or does not hold. That's why we're here.
Thank you, General. So, one of the other things that we've been grappling with is the issue of authority and the power of ministers. In your view, General, what is the role of the minister, and what power does the minister have beyond directives? We are in a quagmire, for lack of a better word, trying to figure out where this political administrative interface starts and ends. There have been views that says if a minister cannot direct a DG to do something, it becomes absurd, because what then becomes the role of that minister? Is it only just executive oversight, but then, you know, ministers are blamed when things don't get done? So can you tell me, in your own understanding, the role and the power of a minister? Maybe even, is it just directives, and what can the nature of those directives be?
Honorable Member, I hope I'm correct here. Those that are dealing with constitution will help me. It looks like, if not is one of the departments that are in the constitution. Police. I don't know if the Department of Health is in the constitution or Department of Social Welfare is in the constitution. But the elaborated department in the Constitution is the Police Special 205, Section 205. Therefore, is a very small area of maneuvering of whoever works there, whether we're a minister or we are a national commissioner, because both of those are prescribed in the Constitution. If you go through the Constitution, that you will be 205, 206, 207. Even in the legislation, the big role of policing falls on the shoulders of the national commissioner rather than the minister. The only problem is that people that must go back to the community to give the reports are the ministers rather than the national commissioners. So, developing the policy, no matter what you develop on the policy, do you want to happen, but you can't be unconstitutional, because Constitution is very clear what the police must do. I did say yesterday that I was even very skeptical when Nkandla was debating the matters of devolution of power, which is politics, pure politics. It's got nothing to do with operations, I think. When you look, the Constitution says the job of the police is to uphold and enforce the law. There is nowhere that says and change the law. So it's not their job. So as it stands, Honorable Member, the National Commissioner plays the bigger role in policing in South Africa, protected by both the Constitution and the legislation. And it's very easy to find yourself encroaching if you're a minister. That is why that I would encourage and advise anybody that comes to both of these other national commissions, please spend most time discussing and talking. Don't wake up the next morning and tell one another that you do this or I'll do this. Please have a very open working relationship. Don't be friends, but respect one another and be open, have very serious open lines, so that you don't encroach and cross the line unwittingly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. So you said that in your role as police minister and even beyond, now that you are a very proud retiree, there's value in you retaining contact, even with people that are considered criminals, because they do tend to be useful in some way or the other, especially when it comes to sharing information. So how do you protect yourself, General, from being compromised in such situations? You see, the work of the police, that will include the ministers, one of the biggest weapons is an information. And then you put that information in operation. Then the criminals, they know that, and the criminals, they work to win. Criminality and not having criminality is a very contested terrain. And it's an international phenomenon, Honorable Member. I've just seen now what Americans have done to Venezuela because of the drug cartels. If you go to Mexico, there are wars that are in the Pacific. There are high ocean wars where the drug cartels, they buy submarines to push their drugs from Mexico to America. So it's a very thin line that you can't guarantee that you can't be compromised. The criminals will forever, not the police, not the Minister of Police, whoever is in authority, they will have to find the way. Looks like you need to keep checking yourself and ask other people to check if you have not crossed the line. So for me to say you can't be compromised, that's guaranteed, it will be folly, because you want to win against criminals. Criminals want to win against those law enforcement agencies in whatever form. So it's an area that needs to be cut all the time. That's why you find people from the law enforcement compromised, because it's a very contested terrain. Okay, in that very contested terrain, General, and you know, based on some of these relationships that you've had, were you ever a handler then, General? Did you handle any people, or it was just you getting information? I'm also looking now for that thin line that you were talking about.
Ever a handler or not? No, I've never been a handler.
Okay, it's fine. I won't push you. General, so you said in paragraph 31 of your testimony that all the people who worked with you, or most of the people who worked with you, were removed when General Pierre took over as National Commissioner. You then proceeded to make examples of Lieutenant General Nkwanazi, General Masemula, and others. So do you consider Lieutenant General and General Masemula as your people?
Well, the statement, your people, I'm not a king. I know you are. I know you are in kingdom. So where the king said, these are my people. So no, these are the people that I knew at the initial stage. I found them there, and I worked very well with them. And they were dispersed as I go, and I've come back, though in the different stage, and I've worked with them. So if I say they are my people, I'll be undermining them, but it's a group of people that we have worked well together.
Is it fair to say you were obviously displeased when they were removed, and when you came back, you would obviously want to at least protect them, if not ensure that the same doesn't happen again?
Not only that, it disrupted the organization. Honorable Member, you maybe one time, because the work of the law enforcement agencies, including the police, you see it with outcomes, and our outcomes is a question of how people feel in the crime stats. I'm saying that team did a wonderful job. And you could see when the team was taken off, you could see that the crime took on like a, what is that thing? It's a Concorde. There was the aeroplane Concorde, yeah. So it took off like Concorde, and it has never reversed. So the lot of disruption had to be corrected as we come back, and it takes, because it took a lot of time disrupting it, it had to take a lot of time correcting it, going forward. So it's not just feeling sorry for the individuals, but it's the whole organization that was messed up. But more than anything, the impact it did to the nation and the impact it did to the safety of the people, women, children, and all other people. That disruption made a lot of damage to the safety of South Africans.
Thanks, General. And I'm going to come back just before, because I'm very close to ending, Honorable Mates. I'm going to come back to what you did, but I need you to help me understand something here, General. I know you don't have a copy of this, so I'm going to read it for you. This is a signal message that was allegedly sent by Mr. Brown Mokhotsi to the minister, and then he screenshotted it, allegedly, and sent it to Mr. Matlala. It says, Minister, I take it, I am going to get the case number and this judgment for you. Now we got something proven by the court. This is the matter now which either Sibiya or the minister can charge Khumalo and apply Rule 9 of the disciplinary hearing. It took the Constitutional Court to release a man who was sentenced to life imprisonment through a forced Section 204 confession. Imagine, Comrade Senzo, after 30 years of democracy, having this kind of policing. I've been struggling with this message since we started. And the case, by the way, it's Makhala. I think it's Makhala versus the NDPP. That he's referring to, and I think Makhala Law was sentenced to life imprisonment, but he had a Section 204 confession that was extracted by force, he claims. When you listen to this, would this have anything to do with that false affidavit of Mr. Matlala, where Rule 9, in terms of the disciplinary hearing rules, speaks to how Khumalo can be charged? Would you draw any relationship parallels between these?
Well, for me, I don't know why. Maybe somebody will explain. I found Khumalo being a target. It might be him and other people, but he's always on the center of being a target. And I find Sibiya always a person that is ready to shoot at Khumalo. Sibiya would have his allies. Either it would be Mokhotsi, Matlala, and the minister. And Khumalo would have his allies. Either
Masimula,
Mkhwanazi,
and the former minister.
So, clearly, how that came about, that, by the way, Khumalo is a new person in the crime intelligence. He's not very old in the crime, but it looks like that's what throws a lot of problem for him. And the suspicion is that he's effective. That's a suspicion, that he's effective. That's why he must be political or through whatever to him, so that you remove him. He had dealt with some dinosaurs there. Honorable Kolapanat will know there are some dinosaurs there in that department. One of them is that guy from Tegwin, your homeboy, Mutli. So he has dealt with those people. Though the courts always don't help much. But coming to this, clearly something had to be done to Khumalo. Who's sending the thing is Brown, is Honorable Brown Mohotsi, to say Minister and Sibiya must deal with Khumalo and Mkhwanazi.
No, they must deal with Khumalo, and then apply Rule 9 of the disciplinary hearing.
What I do not understand, why should they deal with Khumalo when the court has final decision? For me, whatever they did, whether the affidavit correct or wrong, but the decision to send the man to life is the court. So why to deal with the police when the court has taken decision? So even so, for me, maybe it's somebody that does not know how the system works, or somebody that is driven by the hatred and has no logic of it. And the latter statement, I'll believe. Once a person is in court, you need to deal with the court. You can't deal with the police, because the court is an arbitrator between. The court should have found that the police have done wrong. If they don't find that, so the next one to go is the court itself. So it's a court issue. So they must find the judge and find the magistrate, find the prosecutor, and let Khumalo go.
Thank you very much, General. General, then second to last question, I want to ask you about the role of advisors to the Minister of Police in particular in this case. Minister Mkhunu had said that he had gotten his letter, or at least his advisor had looked at the letter, assured of its legality and appropriateness. How are these advisors appointed? How do you think they should be appointed? And then is there any process to keep advisors in check in the ministries? I mean, to whom do they account beyond the principal? I'm asking this because you remember during the Zondo Commission, Judge Zondo obviously had some very scathing remarks about the role of advisors. What is your view about role of advisors in the police service ministry in particular?
Well, I would not change the approach that ministers must employ their advisors. Part of it, besides the skills, is a trust issue. I don't think I can employ Mpangazita as my advisor. I don't think so, because the advisor must be aligned.
Point of order, Chair. May I please plead for your protection?
Point of order, sustain Mpangazita. Let's hear the point of order.
May I please be protected?
That attack was very massive, Chair.
No, Chair.
General, the point of order is sustained. Mpangazita has demonstrated his abilities to serve in that responsibility.
So we'll have to be aligned. It will have to go beyond, is one person that you go beyond the working relationship. You reach something called trust. That if you do something wrong because of the advice you have given, the first thing that must come in your mind, you say, he made or she made a mistake. Should not come to the idea to say, you trapped me. So that is a level of trust. So I don't think that the format of employing people with skills but with trust must be changed when it comes to the minister. That also takes the chief of staff, which is the life of you running that particular thing. But the problem, those people sometimes they do take advantage of converting their ministers to parrots. You think the minister is still running the department, yet is an advisor or is a chief of staff. So yourself, you need to keep the balance, and now and again remind your advisor stroke your chief of staff. So remember, I'm still a minister. I hear you, but I'm still a minister. I think they easily cross the line, especially the advisors sometimes.
In fact, that's where I wanted to go to, because we received testimony about Mr. Nkabinde, who was the chief of staff, actively participating, I think, in management meetings, in meetings with the commissioners. Is this standard practice in the South African Police Service, that the advisors, I mean, there was no such accusation against Advocate Bheki Cele, but that you would have the chief of staff actively engaging, participating, literally being part of the management of the department?
Management, I'm not sure. They can't participate in the management of the department. But chief of staff, honorable member, needs to sift things before they come to the minister. For instance, there are people that she, because my chief of staff was a she or he will meet you and say, sorry ma'am, this thing does not belong to the Minister of Police. Can you go to the Minister of Social Development? So that's a job to do so. But also, people can approach the Chief of Staff and say, can we see the Minister? And it's correct for Chief of Staff to know why are you going to see the Minister. If they see the Minister and begin to say, can you say this and that to the Minister? You could say, Minister, they want to see for this and that. And you say, look, we are not a chief of staff for that. Or you can say, bring them. So those are the things. And slowly but surely. The problem with these things of getting in the wrong side, there is no alarm bell that rings that you have crossed the line. You keep just moving slowly until you are very deep on it. So if we have people that they don't only think about the best of you as a minister, but themselves trying to find what is there for us because we're in the ministries, we are in trouble.
Thanks, General. Let me make a specific example based on testimony. And really, we're drawing on your knowledge, having been in that office. So when you're discussing an operation like the political killings task team, whether to disband it or not, would it have been usual or unusual for the chief of staff to actively participate and even have an opinion or advance an opinion contrary to that of the generals? Is something like that the norm?
That can't happen. Chief of staff, if he has anything to say, can speak on my ear, but he can't come and tell generals what to do and not to do. The worst that the chief of staff can say that I'll take this to the minister. That's the worst. But to come with his or her opinion with the generals, no, that can't happen. Remember, she is a political office. Then becomes an interference then.
Thank you very much, General. So you came back in 2018 at the tail end of the 5th administration. You ran through, right, the 6th administration. In 2018, there were a number of reforms that government, led by the President and yourself, committed to, especially around strengthening the criminal justice system, strengthening SAPS. Do you think that those reforms are bearing fruit at all, General? If not, what do you need to do? If so, how are they bearing fruit?
Honorable members, one thing that police and the justice system as a whole, they need is money. It's money. They need money to be able to do their work. You know, I've been going to every or many countries in terms of policing. If you go to China, every member of community in China walks to police station. They walk. So that's how police stations are situated. Everybody walks in the police station. Nobody takes public transport to go to police station. In South Africa, sometimes you take 2 taxis. 2 taxis to go to police station. You pay 50 rand going, and you pay 50 rand coming back, and you get it 350 a month. So what people would not do then is to report crime, because they have no enabling environment to do it. What do I mean by that? Police station must be accessible to people. There must be police station everywhere so that South Africans are able to walk to police station. That needs money. That's 1. 2, again, if you go to China, every corner you will find a police standing. That's what is called visibility. I've heard the so-called experts saying visibility is not the main, is the main anchor of policing. When you drive around and you see a blue light or you see the police, you readjust yourself. All of us here, when you go and you see a blue light, you take a little, you took a belt and all that. Visibility has an impact in policing. Now, you can't have visibility when the ratio of the police is 1:400, which I guess that's a ratio. The normal UN ratio should be 1:200. South Africa is doubled, so which means there are not enough police. So we need money to train the police. But one other thing that we need is money to keep and protect the police. The question asked by Honorable Member Souls. We don't have to be contesting the loyalty of our members and the private security or private companies, whatever. We don't, because they are fine, they are satisfied, and all that kind of thing. So, not only that, I don't know how many judges are in South Africa. You know, there are cases that are finished 5, 6, 10 years. And you hear the judge postponing in July and said we'll be here in July next year. And you ask the question, they say there are no judges. So, which means there must be judges, but also there must be courts. For that, there must be prosecutors, enough prosecutors and all that, not finding the prosecutor running from A to B and all that. So we'll have to put some money on the things for anything to begin to work. And then we'll have to sit down and say, this money goes to these reforms. And these reforms are 1, 2, 3, and these are outcomes. So it doesn't help much to come with any form of reforms and you don't fund those reforms.
Thank you very much, General. My last question then. There was an allegation that had been made against you by General Mkhwanazi, which he subsequently withdrew. General, what did you think or feel when that allegation was made, and do you accept General Mkhwanazi's apology?
Your person, I was told yesterday evening that everybody wants to be Khumalo because they say former Minister Cele, he loves Khumalo and defends him. Honorable Member, one police officer I like is Mkhwanazi. Not because he's Mkhwanazi, not because he's beautiful or what, no. Because he knows his work. But Mkhwanazi is a human being like me and you. He's got his faults. I think one problem that has happened about Mkhwanazi is the South African society that have sang him hallelujah. And as a human being, you would love to float in the clouds of popularity. And out of that, you begin to make mistakes. I've said to you, some of the things, Mkhwanazi is a tough nut as a human being because that's how we train. I've sat down with him. Mkhwanazi had said to me, I'm sorry, Minister. I don't think that many people can find that from Mkhwanazi. But that does not make him a holy person. And I believe that the mistakes he made are genuine mistakes. What do you want me to say about him, to do to him, I would not. I believe. I have not seen him. I am planning to see him. But as I'm sitting here, I believe that he made a genuine mistake. And then if you make a mistake, and I believe it's a mistake, yes, you need to be pardoned. But I have not arrived there. But I have arrived in the understanding that he made a genuine mistake. I hope it's not philosophical.
No, it's not. It's not, Minister. It's just that I suppose operating in the environment that you do as police, there's added responsibility, you know, on some of these things which are then made public. But thank you very much, Minister.
Thanks.
I have no further questions, Chairperson, and I'm 20 minutes early. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Sangon, thank you so much. Honorable members, the Chief Whip and Honorable Breitenbach have agreed to swap their positions. So we are going to take Honorable Breitenbach